Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about in terms of how to day trade stocks in less than 30 minutes, right? So it's going to be a bit more extensive guide than usual. So what we're going to do in this video is you're going to learn in terms of how to day trade stocks, right? So topics that would be included would be something in terms of how to find stocks to day trade, right? I mean, there's a gazillion of stocks out there. Which one do you really want to trade? Second is in terms of when to day trade. I mean, the stock market is open from 9:30 to 4, right? So in terms of what are the best times to day trade, not all the times are created equally, right? The methods and the strategies that you're going to learn today is going to be, you know what, you might probably need only an hour, 2 hours, or maybe even 3 hours to trade, right? Nothing more than that. Next, we're going to talk about in terms of the day trading strategies that you can use to profit every day. First and foremost, of course, before we start day trading, you want to have something called a trading plan. Right? A trading plan is going to tell you in terms of what strategies that you want to use. In terms of are you going to be trading breakouts? Are you going to be trading pullback strategies? Where is the support? Where is the resistance for a particular stock? Right? When are you going to trade? That's important. Are you going to trade right at 9:30 when a bell rings, or you want things to settle down and then trade, or you want to trade in the afternoon? So when will you trade? And then number three is, of course, in terms of what will you trade? Are you going to be trading stocks? Are you going to trade ETFs? If it's stocks, then what type of stocks? If it's ETFs, then what type of ETFs? Will you be trading regular ETFs or leverage ETFs? And how much are you going to risk per trade? Right? So in terms of trading plan, that's what you want to create and have it figured out before you actually get into a trade. Now, talking about the best times to trade the stock market. Generally, when you want to trade when there is the most amount of volatility. So volatility is in terms of how much a stock can move, right? If a stock is going to move only 10 cents a day, you're not going to make a lot of money. If a stock is going to move, say, say $1, $2, that's a time when your entries might not be that great, but because you have the range, you still have a lot of potential to make more gains when you're day trading. Also, in terms of when is the maximum market participants, right? I mean, if there is no volume in a particular stock, then you probably do not want to be in it, because then it's going to have wide spreads, which means that your risk is going to go up. So preference is always going to be the first hour after the stock market opens. So 9:30 to 10:30 is the prime time when everything is, there's a lot of movements in the markets, a lot of overnight orders which get settled in, right? Because there's a lot of people swing trading, or with mutual funds, ETFs taking positions. They are placing trades before the market opens. So once the market opens, all those trades come into play. Same thing if there's any fresh new stocks, then you know what, there's going to be a lot of fresh volume which comes in. Preference two is, do you want to trade the last hour before the stock market closes? So between 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Maybe a lot of equity traders, they want to cash out their positions, or maybe they want to swing positions overnight, right? So they want to be in this particular stock. In terms of how to find stocks to day trade, the number one is in terms of trading the same stocks all the time, right? So you can go and pick a handful of stocks which you want to trade. So generally, what I would recommend is, if you're trading the same stocks every day, you want to trade stocks which have a lot of volume, right? Generally, more the better. So if it's generally more than 1 million shares, that's good. You also want to be trading stocks which have a large trading range, right? So when I mentioned that, you know what, if there's a stock which moves 20 cents, you probably won't be able to make a lot of profit out of it, right? If you have stocks which has, say, $1, $2, $3, $4 moves, there's a lot of range for you to play with. So you might be off in your entry a bit, but you have the extra $1 or $2 to really trade. The second strategy in terms of find stocks each week that have been most volatile, right? So let's say, you know what, you want to take a look at what are the stocks in the previous week which has made a lot of movements, right? Maybe it went up by, say, 10%, or it moved up by 20%. If the stock is really moving with a lot of range, a lot of volatility, chances are there's a lot of volume associated with it, right? So if you want to trade those names, that's what you can trade. The third one is really my favorite, where each morning or throughout the day you're really looking for stocks that are moving big ranges with high relative volume, right? High relative volume means if a stock is doing 1 million shares regularly, today is doing 300,000 shares, or 3 million shares, so it's trading 4 million shares or 5 million shares, so it's trading more than its regular volume, right? So those are the kind of stocks that you can take a look at. So 3 different types depending on which is your trading strategy, trading plan. Those are the kind of stocks you want to be trading. Couple of setups that I want to show you. It's number one is in terms of pullback, right? So this is a daily chart on the stock AZUL, right? This is a daily chart where the stock is actually breaking out to new highs, right? So which means this is a gapper, right? Now in terms of finding ideas of when to actually get in, so this is a 5-minute chart which is going to show you a pullback trade, right? So the stock, as I mentioned on the daily, is gapping from 34 bucks all the way to say 36 odd, right? So when it opens at 36, over 36, it does try to go lower than 36, right? So there is going to be some profit taking going on when the stock is actually gapping up so high, right? It went from 34 to 36, so overnight people are up about 10% or so. So now at this point of time, some profit taking happens. There's some kind of sideways consolidation, right? So this is really a pullback trade where the stock actually pulls back to this is the moving average on here. It pulls back and then it goes from 36.50 and then it runs all the way till 38. Right, so nice $1.50 move on a stock which has gapped up, and if you see over here, it has a higher relative volume versus against any other days, right? Another stock I want to take a look at is Win, right? Win Resorts. Again, this day when the stock had gapped up, so it's gapping from 126 all the way to 130, right? So it is gapping pretty nicely on here. If you look on the 5-minute chart, in this one there was some kind of profit taking going on in the 5-minute chart, but quickly the buyer stepped in, went back up. There was some profit taking again, but on the second move, which is a breakout or which is a pullback, or you can trade as a breakout depending on how you want to trade it, and then the stock made another moves or $1.50 from here on, right? So we traded as a pullback stock. It made some decent moves, right, from 131 to 134, about $3 move. Or similar if you want to trade the breakout, which is break of the highs, you have some $1.50 move from here as well. Next is CGC, right? By the way, guys, if you do like the video, do like and subscribe. Just gonna keep you motivated to make more. Now, in terms of the next stock, we're looking at CGC, Canopy Growth. This stock, which is a stock which is actually gapped down, right? So previous 2 stocks that I showed you were actually gapping up, right? This is a gap up AZUL. This Win. This one actually gapped down, right? So it was at somewhere around this, and then it gapped down over here. So it's actually gapped down to support, right? I mean, a lot of times it tried to go down, but it gets spot up. So if you look on the 5-minute chart, right, the stock tried to go down, but there was not enough selling pressure. It had a big of bounce, formed a higher low. So in terms of a breakout, is a breakout of the highs, and then you have this move all the way from 39 bucks all the way to 41 bucks, which is a $2 move, right? Another gap that I want to show you is in terms of AYI, right? So once again, in this stock was at 140, gap down to $122 odd. Now in this one, if you take a look at the 5-minute charts, it had one push to the lower, went back up, had a nice consolidation over here, where if you are looking to get into a particular stock, this is really would be the higher low. If it's gapping to support, if you want to be a buyer, you want to go and buy a higher low. This one, we don't really know how much the flush is going to be or when this flush is going to end. But if this higher low, has a greater certainty that you know what, you can go on long over here, put a short underneath. If it works, then it can work out really well. Right, so this one worked from 124 odd to 128. So nice move. The other way you could have played is probably the breakout. That the intraday high was this, intraday low is over here, and now trade the name from 128, the breakout 128, the highs over here. It again hit a nice move all the way to 133, 134 watt. So those are a few ways that you can actually start trading within 30 minutes. If you do like the video, once again, do like and subscribe, and you guys have a good one.